managed to keep the time. We are starting our next session, which is Seamless Temperature Logistics, World Experience and Practice in Russian. And I'm inviting the speakers and the moderator, Natalia Stepanova, Deputy Secretary General, International Coordination Council on Trans-Eurasian Transportation, to the podium. And please take your electronic devices for simultaneous interpretation. We will have foreign guests, so you'll need them to listen to the speakers. Colleagues, good afternoon. We are continuing with the proceedings of our conference. And if during the first plenary session the discussion was organized marvelously and they discussed issues of the unbroken cold chain from the standpoint of food security, academic approaches, business approaches, this case session proposes the discussion of specific transportation and economic products providing for the cold chain, because the perishables do not only include foodstuffs, but also the varnishes, pharmaceuticals, and other products. The speakers of this session are experts and heads of businesses, experts of the highest grade, enthusiasts of their business, and of course the quality of products being transported depends on the logistics, in the conditions of sanction pressure and geopolitical challenges. How do we provide for compatible tariffs? How do we supply the products on time? So the speakers represent different areas of the seamless connection. These are people from railroads, maritime transport, aviation, who carry different foodstuffs, different products, from foodstuffs to computers, cosmetics, and pharmaceuticals. And before we start the discussion, I would like to introduce the speakers for this session. Alexander Panin, Chairman of the Fish Union. Andrei Likachov, GR Director, Association of Manufacturers and Suppliers of Industrial Goods, Rosprod-Soyuz. Madam Alipur Samane, CEO, Bihainin Tarabar Azur International Railway Transport and Logistics. She will be online with us. Mr. Michael Mao, CEO, Tai Logistic Company Limited. Azamat Yusupov, Vice President for Trade and Technology Development, Ante Group. Andrei Grechkin, CEO, Dalref Trans, FESCO. Vladimir Kashtanov, General Representative in the Russian Federation of the Chinese company New Elevation Supply Chain, RailNet Logistics. Yelena Konkina, Commercial Director, Deputy General Director, Moscow Cargo Terminal. Natalia Fedorova, Head of the Air Transportation Department, Neutech Supply Chain Solutions, and the General Director of Eurasian Agro-Logistics, Alevtina Kirillova, will be online. And my first question is to Alexander Panin, Chairman of the Fish Union. Alexander, the Fish Union you are heading is a non-commercial organization that has existed for over 15 years. You unite over 30 biggest fish processing companies, suppliers and producers. And we know that you provide for monitoring of all of the components of the seamless supply chain, end-to-end chain. And we know how the geography of fish supplies has been expanded. So we would also like to speak not only about the seamless supply chain in the Russian Federation, but we would like to touch upon the exports and imports operations. We know that members of your operators are traders that supply to Africa, Americas, Southeast Asia, and the geography of their supplies is very broad. So, my question is, when the international logistical chains have changed, how did that affect the transportation of fish products? And what's your outlook on the development of logistic chains that ship perishables? Thank you very much, Natalia. I'm glad to welcome everyone to this event. The issue of unbroken cold chain is very important, and we have been discussing it in the Fish Union for a long time, because the safety of products, especially of frozen products, and the chilled product segment is rather small, so the issue of unbroken cold chain is very important, and the issue of creating a control system that would monitor the temperature at every point of the route is very important. Yes, the Fish Union unites the biggest Russian fish processors in the B2C segment. It's very important from the standpoint of production. It doesn't matter whether you produce foodstuffs or industrial goods. The lion's share of the quality depends on the raw materials that you are using. So the monitoring of the temperature at every point of the route is very important, and the question of how do we monitor it and how do we regulate it is extremely important. Yes, it is important to understand that while looking for the optimal option for such control system, such end-to-end control system, we must not overdo it. We should not create a system that would be so regulated that would impede all the technological processes. Talking about in greater detail the process of fish processing and observing the temperature consists of a shipment of that product, starting from catching the fish. And the problem here is the fish is different. When a fisherman catches fish, only understands the quality of that fish when the fish is caught. And from day to day, the structure of fish and the fish meat may be different, and the quality of fish may be different. And that's the first challenge in the primary segment. The second problem is the activity of catching. How much fish is caught during a season? It's no secret that during the catch of salmon, when there's a lot of salmon caught, the absence of adequate number of refrigerators does not allow the fishermen to process enough fish. So the fish is delayed, and that creates problems in that primary segment and throughout the subsequent chain. So the fish is caught, it is frozen, it's necessary to reload it on shore. And it's done in two ways. You can either deliver it to a port or reload it to a refrigerator vessel, and that's the second point which must be controlled. Otherwise, one link will be missing, and that depends on the weather conditions. And if it's raining, the boxes may get wet, or there may be a storm, and all that really affects the loss of temperature, or the possible loss of temperature. But now the storage of raw materials at port. It's no secret that our refrigerator infrastructure leaves much to be desired. A lot of that was mentioned at the previous session, and a lot has been done recently. New refrigerators arrive, but nevertheless, mostly we are using old Soviet refrigerators repaired to a degree of success. And in most of the refrigerators, there are no temperature sleeves. The fish is taken from the vessel to the warehouse by car, by truck, by loader, and that results in the loss of the temperature. And we need to restructure this link in the chain so that we will not be able to resolve this issue within 1 or 3 years. And now the unloading at the final destination, it's no secret, and it was also mentioned by the previous speakers, that is the supervisory agency's actions, and that's something, the verification time, the sampling time. And so these times should be optimized and abridged somehow so that we have a very brief time when the product, the temperature regime is not observed. Now, loading at the port for transportation into the central regions or to the processing plant and to the end user. And we need to take into account of all of the subtleties of the existing logistical infrastructure. According to the Mercury analysis, 20% of the products were shipped from the Far East to central regions by road vehicles, not by railway, whose share is growing. RZD share is about 26%, of 2% are shipped by sea, and its share is also growing, so it's the Northern Sea route which increases the shipment volume, but so far its share is about 2%. 0.3% is the hull transportation, and 0.1% is shipped by air. I would like to wish all the participants who are developing the project on the observing the unbroken cold chain fruitful work. We will certainly collaborate with all the parties who discuss this project, and I hope that by the end we will come to an optimal solution that will allow us to control fish products throughout its life cycle and not build additional administrative barriers. The fishing industry is interested in this project because most of the participants are fair participants of the market who are very cautious about observance of product quality during the supply operations, because it's a question of their responsibility to the people, and that is impossible without high quality. And certainly we are interested in removing unfair users, unfair operators from the market who continue to ship in insulated cars, and continue to ship canned foodstuffs in insulated cars. You can do that in winter yet, and we need to find a compromise here not without blocking the legal ways of shipping via our vast territory. Thank you very much. I wish you a fruitful panel session. Unfortunately, I will have to leave in a few minutes. Thank you very much. Alexander, thank you very much. You've set the tone and for our dialogue. We clearly understand now what segment belongs to the perishables. And if you have any questions to Alexander, ask them now because he will have to leave very soon. So I think that if there's a question, we will find you. Thank you very much. Once again, the volume of the perishables reaches 5.5 million tons and increases by 10% annually. Because of that, I have a question. My next question is to GR Director of the Association of Manufacturers and Suppliers of Industrial Goods, Andrei Likachov. Andrei, the perishables market, is that a acute competition for survival, or is that a promising market with room for everyone? So please describe the prospects of this market for the next few years. Do we have a clicker? Yes. Actually, this subject of the unbroken cold chain is a key subject for food safety, and not only for the internal market, not only for the domestic market. Our association will be 15 years tomorrow. We unite over 450 producers of foodstuffs. About 50% of the foodstuff that you see in the stores every day was produced by our participants. In particular, we control the quality, increase the authority, and we went deeply into the regulatory issues of trade, sales, and quality. We have set up a chamber of producers which unites the biggest associations and unions, and we need to consolidate the issues of the industry between everyone in the industry, from producers of equipment to producers of foodstuffs. The global trends tell us that there's a big transformation not only of the foodstuffs market, but all of the tools which are associated with the market development. That's AI, and we see the transformation of transportation networks. Our partners change, and we've raised the issue of imports and exports for a good reason, because we have already reached food safety without food security in all areas except dairy products. But actually, it is the time of opportunities. We see the turnover. Well, it went down in 2020 for different reasons, but you see the turnover is growing. The market of suppliers is stabilizing. The stability of processes is increasing. We've passed through the childhood diseases, which we had thought we didn't have. So we only believe that we are the producers of raw materials, and the end products, final products, will be produced by somebody else. But this delusion is gone, and really the system is undergoing transformation.
Now, getting back to the matrix of risks. We have already mentioned there are different categories of goods with high risks or moderate risks. What is in the yellow and green zones here shows that in very few cases we meet the temperature conditions for temperature and humidity. And as far as transportation is concerned, it depends on the opportunities open to the logistics companies. Unfortunately, sometimes we have to transport products to long distances under bad conditions. For instance, when in order to save fuel, the operator may just switch off refrigeration in the wagon. So our trade unions, jointly with the Russian Quality Association, last year conducted an experiment. We compared the products from wholesale warehouses with the products that were delivered by assumedly cold line. However, in 30 cases, we discovered breaches of these conditions. And if delivery is not ensured in terms of cold temperature, we may lose not only the confidence of our clients, but also we can lose our clients if we are sure of the quality of our products delivered to the table of customers and to the shops. We won't be able to develop marketing and all the other operations. As I have mentioned, all the participants of our cold chain, including refrigerated warehouses and all the types of refrigerated transport, I should say that we are not yet quite secure in terms of cold chain. There is no common strategy. That's why companies buy products according to their own specifications, and even their software products do not meet the requirements and do not fit into our common programs. That's why a lack of coordination between companies and between industries is a great challenge. It applies not only to cold chain issues, but also to many other areas. For instance, the existing trade and logistics centers that are being built or refurbished are part of a national program. However, as far as our union is concerned, we were not involved in the transformations. That's why I'm not sure whether they have taken into account our needs. That's why it is necessary for us to act by joint effort, because I have seen it in my personal experience. I have been working for agricultural projects all my life, including the EURASIA Academy. We sometimes think that business is business and the government is separate from business. But in fact, we need to target this, to have the same targets and work together. And but I do hope that we will overcome the problems. Actually, before this conference, we surveyed various companies, asking them about reformatting the corridors between east, west, and south and north. Everywhere we have seen that there is a lack of end-to-end operators. If we just join our efforts, I think that this service then will make it possible for us to have the same performer of work to reduce the risks. And beside that, there are problems with transportation services, including the currency component. There are various limitations for payments. We have been trying to adopt new regulations, but it is still a problem that prevails. That's why it is necessary for us to think on how to reduce the insurance costs, and it is also connected with the problem of Black Sea ports. There are two opinions about containers. Some parties say that there is a shortage, but we need to determine where we have problems. So speaking about our problems, our proposals, the fact is that since we sometimes have delays with our wagons for several days, it is a problem for our transshipments, and that's why there are also various complaints about transportation. That's why for our transportation to China or to Europe, it will make the processes cheaper, and that's why it is necessary now to set up a structure to improve our information system. We need to know that the companies that we sign contracts with are accredited and assume responsibility for their business. So once again, I need to repeat that it's necessary to ensure the participation, our participation in government's strategies and programs, because we were quite surprised to see that on the 16th of September, a strategy for the development of processing industry was adopted, but we had not been involved in its development. So currently we need to make up for this deficiency. Thank you for your attention, and I'm ready to try and answer your questions. Well, you only have 1.5 minutes to answer questions now, but you have touched upon very important things. Speaking about the lack of a common site, it does exist. It is the International Coordinating Council on Trans-Eurasian Transportation. And this year, on the 17th of October, we are going to discuss a new project entitled Cold Chain, which will be presided by Mr. Sinov, the president of Cold Source, and the president of Association of Food Sector Organization. And so we are going to put it all together in this project, and we will really discuss the important things then. Another important thing that you have mentioned is that we need to provide for seamless transportation of perishables, and the most challenging thing there is the coordination of the efforts of all the chain participants, because it is, for instance, necessary to prevent cases when air conditioning can be switched off or other adverse things happen that will result in deterioration of quality. That's why we are moving now to the international cargo transportation. As Mr. Kobakov has said, at least two types of commodities cross the border, including perishables. That's why no matter how good the supply chain is, still when crossing the border, unforeseen situations may occur. That's why this session is attended by leaders of international companies who have faced such problems, and you have a unique opportunity now to listen to them. So now we have Mrs. Alipur Samane, CEO of Bekinen Tarabar Aju, International Railway Transport and Logistics. Mrs. Alipur, the floor is yours. You don't need to put on your earphones because Mrs. Alipur's Russian is perfect. Thank you. We are happy to welcome you on behalf of our company. We've been operating in the market of railways for more than 10 years, dealing with perishables and fresh products from Iran to the former Soviet Union countries and to Russia. And we have also got experience of dealing with Uzbekistan and Tajikistan as well as Turkey via Iran. This year we have exported from Iran 640,000 tons, which shows that, and they were transported in containers. And now from Chaburun station, our objective is to make the most of the existing opportunities using cold storage facilities for cargoes from America, Africa, or Asia. They move from Europe to Russia, to the ports of Novorossiysk and St. Petersburg, as well as by motor roads and railways to Moscow. And then from Moscow, they are transported to these areas. We have a proposal for direct transportation, as shown in this slide. We also propose to deliver such cargoes from a cold storage in Kazakhstan, for instance, in the city of Nur-Sultan, and to reduce the customs clearing costs. We should consider such options, and then motor roads can be used for transportation to deliver them to the destinations. We should also expand this business to Baghdad, to Bandar Turkmen, for fresh and refrigerated products from Iran to Kazakhstan and Russia. And this is done from Iran and Kazakhstan to Kazakhstan and Russia. We have successful experience in transportation of refrigerated chickens via Iran to Kazakhstan for a distance of 1,100 kilometers. It takes 48 hours from Tehran, including customs clearance. I think it is better to know about the potential of Iran based on the use of daily containers from to Pakistan and Turkey, we can improve our performance to reach the center of Russia, and we can also reach various other markets in Russia. Thank you for your kind attention. Hope to meet with you again. Thank you very much, Mrs. Samonet. Thank you for a very good presentation. We'll definitely consider your proposals as part of our project. If there are any questions for Mrs. Samanet, she will attend our meeting in Moscow in person, and you'll have chances to establish contacts with this company from Iran, the more so that there is a lot of interest now to the international north-south corridor, and the company, Beninet Tarabarajur, has been transporting lots of cargoes using this corridor. Thank you very much, and I hope you'll keep listening. And now, now I'd like to give the floor to the CEO of Titan Logistics Corporation, the company that ensures the transport connectivity for the country of the Pacific region and Southeast Asia. Well, Michael, thank you very much for your personal participation in this conference, which shows that no distances or difficulties can hamper our communication. Please tell us about your experience in multimodal transportation of perishables, fruits and vegetables and other products.
West. It is the ancient Silk Road, and it is the modern belt. What can we do? We can tailor-made logistics safest and fastest for our customers, carry out the transportation entrusted by customers, and to meet them all kinds of transport. Intermax have the dedicated route for two-way railway land transportation via Manjuli border for ADR dangerous goods, chemicals, foods and pharmaceuticals, cold chain. Manjuli border have qualified to process import-export procedure for DG Chemicals. There is inspection yard and warehouse for DG Chemicals and cold chain warehouse. TIR means International Road Transport between China and Europe, between China and Russia. The routes of cargo delivery are through China's Alashankau, Horgos, Manjuli, and other borders. They realizes the whole road transportation between China and Europe. The platform via Manjuli border realize the road transportation convenience for DG Chemicals. We can implement two-way door-to-door service for whole international automobile transportation. Import-export by China Railway Express through Horgos and Alashankau border, which is the two-way train. They are the best way to transport cold chain, electronic and mechanical products with safety and speed. China Railway Express, cross-border multimodal transport combined with road, railway, and seaway, two-way door-to-door transportation between Europe and Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and Southeast Asia. The route is import China from Alashankau, Horgos border, arrange regional circulation or integrated customs declaration at railway station, and deliver to coastal port by truck, finally transfer cargo by marine container ship to the China Railway Express, cross-border multimodal transport combined with road and railway, two-way door-to-door transportation between Europe and Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, and other Southeast Asian countries. The route is import China from Alashankau-Horgos border, arrange regional circulation or integrated customs declaration via Chongqing Railway Station, transfer cargo by truck for entry and exit to Southeast Asian countries via Pingshan border. Your trust, we care. Knowledge, experience, capability. Win-win. Tailor-made professional logistics solution for our customers. Easy Logistics, reach the world. One belt.
Okay, sorry. I try to speak Russian, but I don't. My Russian is very poor, but I try to speak in English to give everybody to see the video, which is we promote the train from China to Europe and also to Russia. So this is what we do every day. And during the pandemic, I believe the world is changed. Also, the transportation is facing the challenge during these 3 years. The logistics disruption everywhere. We see now the transportation mode is integrated into the multimodal transportation mode from road, rail, air, and ocean. And from the cost-wise, which is we see, is also from economic to moderate, and also to mean from the air, rail, ocean. So we're using mostly from the logistic industry, they are using the different mode. So talking about the rail solution from cold chain, from pre-carriage to last mile, and this is what mostly to give the service. So the green cold chain can reduce the CO2 emission, especially on the rail, compared to the air freight, compared to the ocean freight. So this is what we see. The rail is the much on the advantage compared to other transportation mode. We also see the increasing from the road haulage, which is just the gentleman have mentioned about the road transportation, also carry with the cold chain. So we see the many trucks in and out from China, also to Russia, and the Central Asia as well, and even to Southeast Asia. So we see there's tier transport, and based on the different category, and also on the certified on the TAPA level, which is from a standard 1, level 1 to level 3, based on temperature requirement, and also the high value cargo, and even to some electronics, which is they also have least demanding. So the rails and also the by road, even by ocean, they've been using quite widely to using the 40-foot high queue and also 45. What we see, the 45 reefers, they have different types, which is the engines, they are building in refrigerator inside, and it can reduce the CO2 immersion on the rail. However, it also supporting by the fuel. So now, based on different customer demanding, it probably can using the biofuel also into the fuel tank to keep the container still moving without worry about the trucks to give the supply on the electricity and also fuel, or even turn down the engines. And it can be detected also from the fuel loss. So basing on the service from the value proposition, we give it under one roof liability coverage, which is the tracking and the trace and the 24/7 monitoring under one multi-model waybill, which is the service coverage and also insurance. I just make it quicker because I know the video taken much of the times. So we give the gentleman also question about how to make to avoid about the broken chain. This is most of the companies are concerning about this. So we give the control tower to see from the end to end to give it a solution to using like RPA and the AI technology into the control towering, so which is can monitoring from end to end to find a destination on last mile. I'm sorry, it goes too quick, but anyhow, it's just to give it some technology supporting. So in case of the door is open and the road is off-route, or fuel is lost, or temperature is down. So all the times, the control towers send the alert to the technical, like TK or carriers. So therefore, the intervention can be stopped from the last mile, from first mile to the last mile, even during the transportation on the rail or on the road. So temperature, we keep it on, but this shows the records from every every 15 minutes to record on 15 to 25. This is the records. So we give you the service to the pharmaceutical company to give you the service from every temperature change. So this is customer familiarity in related to pharma. So records from every stop, even for unloading, to keep not the broken chain. This is by road, from all the way to carry with the high value cargo, checked on every minute. It goes from the different temperature requirement, so it's basing on the long distance to go by road. So cold chain perishable, cold chain logistics, which is means from the manufacturer to the buyer. So it depends on how we provide the transportation. Every day now we are shipping. To be a logistics service provider, we are mostly concerned how we make sure that the container is moving and the temperatures can keep. But the point is, the custom brokerage, especially in the international, food item is most critical, which is stuck if in the port, in the customs, is also caused the broken chain as well. So from this quarantine inspection is also quite a key element to the broken chain. So basing on different category of product, like king crabs, like the order process, I'm sorry, put in some Chinese, because this is a custom authority, which is we copy and we just show that. This is what we need to let the audience know. Is not only for the logistics, can be in compliance to give the end-to-end or delivery, but in related to the customs, especially to international transport, is much important than where you deliver only. To accomplish the job, which is also comes in related to the customs, and also to deliver in good condition. Dairy products, they have the different category requirement from the customs, from the inspection, even from the printing the box. It always will be stuck your cargo in somewhere. Maybe you can control, like I just show you 45 equipment, is a built-in generator. It can activate it both way. It can avoid the broken chain from the trucks to stop or from the port. But anyhow, maybe it will be stuck on the customs or the borders. It will be inspection, then you're probably facing same situation. So how we can show to this broken chain is to give the intervention and assistance. You have the knowledge and experience to solve this problem, even to carry it with chocolate, fruits, perishable, everything. This is quite important. So that's why I'm saying we give the end-to-end cold chain logistics solution for pharmaceutical, for perishables. We customize 45 reefers, peri-wide, and delivered by our 24/7 control tower to control end-to-end solution. And this is what we deliver many cases in the past. And we hope we can have some of the experience to exchange it with the gentlemen and the ladies. Thanks for the times. So we keep on the transpassibility.
Michael, thank you very much. Well, the scale of your activity is impressive, and really multimodal shipment is a subtly fine-tuned delivery chain. So you watch the video, you see the train going, the road vehicle going, but to connect the road vehicle transportation and the sea transportation, you understand that this is an issue of harmonization, the international transportation law. It's an issue of harmonizing the shipment schedules, pricing, and customs issues, and you need to monitor the temperature at the same time constantly. Thank you very much, Michael, for being with us. Thank you for the great job you've done, and we invite you to actively participate in our new project, which is called Cold Chain. Alexander, when he opened our session, said that only 1.5% of perishables are transported by air. Nevertheless, I would like to pass the floor to Yelena Konkina. And when I saw, who is the head of the Moscow air terminal, and that will be a bridge to the shipment of live crabs. Yelena, the floor is yours. Please briefly talk about the trends in the production market and about the shipment of perishables by air. Can I ask for the clicker? Once again, I represent Moscow Cargo Terminal, the biggest terminal in the Russian Federation and Eastern Europe. And when I heard that only 0.1% of perishables are transported by air, I wanted to clarify this issue. Certainly it's difficult for us to compare with railroads or maritime containers, but the airports are very specific concerning the products that come to us, that come in and come out, and we make a great contribution to the development of cold chain and transportation logistics for the perishables. If you allow me, I would like to start with some general slides that have to do with macroeconomic factors. Why do I do that? Because they directly impact the volume of global shipments by air. Unfortunately, the stats are very sad. There's high inflation worldwide. The forecast for the Asia-Pacific region is slightly better. 87% is the inflation of 2022, a bit lower in 2023, but we see that those forecasts may be wrong. The decrease of GDP and the turnover of goods results in the fact that the volume of goods transported between the continents is lower, and in 2023 we saw the surplus of capacity of air capacities for the first time. That's bad for the airlines, but that's good for the producers of perishables. The tariffs are more accessible. Given the tariff per kilo of perishables, one can increase the share of air traffic in the sales volume of this sector of economy. What factors impact the shipment of perishables? Certainly, the points of consumption are quite often a different continent, and you can either deliver it very slowly by sea or very quickly by air. If you look at the data about the growth of share of perishables in air traffic, you see that alongside with special categories freights, the perishable freights are one of the growth points. We ship more and more pharmaceuticals and foodstuffs between different points of our country and between different countries. The graph shows the growth of the population of the Earth, and certainly the consumption volume will grow alongside. Coming back to the Moscow air hub, allow me to compare the Moscow cargo Sheremetyevo 1 share. Over 50% of the market is processed at our terminal. The partners are Aeroflot, Volga, Dnepr, the biggest Russian airlines, also a big pool of Chinese airlines, and quite a big volume of perishables is shipped by them. Speaking about Iran, Mahan Air collaborates with us, and this airline also ships quite a lot of Iranian perishables that are in demand in this country. What is specific about the terminal? Well, it's not very important what's happening up in the air. It's very important what's happening on the ground. Is the airport ready to process and to handle perishables? Do they have refrigerators? Do they have special zones for storage of perishables? The Sheremetyevo airport built a new freight terminal in 2017. The area is 42,000 square meters, and we made a focus on the need to handle perishables that demand temperature control.
The warehouse is a huge area for temperature control storage. In each of the rooms there, it's possible to maintain proper temperature conditions, +4, +8, +25, depending on the needs of the customers. And during the pandemic, via Sheremetyevo and Moscow Cargo Airport, almost 800 tons of vaccine were transported practically to every part of the world. About the statistics, around 12% of cargo is delivered by air, require particular temperature conditions, and 24% are temperature-sensitive cargoes in the total volume. That is to say, 1 of every 5 cargoes needs to be placed into a refrigerator. It's impossible not to comply with this rule because practically all the manufacturers and producers today install temperature sensors to make sure if there has been any break of the temperature profile. The key transporters are Aeroflot, Volga, Dnipro, Tatar, Chinese carriers, and a lot is received from Armenia, our traditional partner, including fruits, vegetables, herbs, and fish. Our cargo flights go to Vladivostok, Yerevan, Murmansk, and also to Shanghai, where special products are sent, such as live crabs. Why do we handle so many perishables? Because it's a huge country and many regions fully depend on the supply of products from central Russia. There has been always a steady demand for such cargoes, and producers are actually willing to transport even more products than now. The key reason is the lack of their own processing companies in the regions. So what happens in the airports, as soon as we receive a cargo, including pharmaceuticals, etc., or kefir flights, as we call them, that is to say, dairy products from Moscow producers, our key task is to unload such cargoes, particularly when it comes to fish and seafood. And we also apply alternatives for inspections. We also place cargoes for storage using adjustable temperature conditions. We also use special equipment which makes it possible to put pallets with cargo inside the refrigerators. They can be fully filled with fish, flowers, other foodstuffs. The temperature is maintained at 8 degrees above zero. The only problem is the consolidation of cargoes. There are warehouses which have a big consolidation area. That is to say, in fact, a portion of their warehouses is in fact a refrigerator. We haven't established it yet, but we are considering this need for future projects. It is also necessary to ensure the maintenance of temperature conditions during transportation. The equipment to ensure it does not exist not only in Russia but in the whole world either. However, it's possible to transport cargoes in pallets on aprons. We also have vehicles that make it possible to deliver the product directly on board the aircraft. Another interesting aspect which shows to the extent to which we are ready to handle such cargoes, our systems can even broadcast the temperature in the refrigeration chamber, which you can do using your waybill. If you know the number of a refrigerated area, you can always track what is happening there. There are all kinds of precautions made to avoid problems. I won't dwell on it now. It's just a standard package of precautions for those who want to preserve perishables. Another important point for us is customs control. The formalities, customs formalities are so sophisticated that lots of people complain about it. It would be impossible to find enough refrigerated space for this purpose. There are certainly attempts made to improve the situation. At Sheremetyevo, it can be done in advance against pre-filed documents. Then inspectors may visit the shippers at their facilities. Another interesting project, when speaking about the fact that air transportation is intended for the most vulnerable things and the most expensive commodities. Recently, one of our partners opened the so-called Crab Hotel, a short distance from the airport. It's possible to keep there up to 50 tons of crabs at a time, meeting all the sanitary and refrigeration requirements. So what is the specific requirements here? As a rule, we transport products from Murmansk and Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky. For crabs, it is necessary to leave them some time to recover, so to say, and that's what crab hotels do. This involves a lot of investment, and certainly it's not a unique experience. Definitely, there are such kind of facilities in other places, but not at the airports, as I understand. This is practically everything I wanted to mention. Definitely, we're not handling too many fishes now, but we would like to improve the situation. We need to have fish supplied from various countries. I believe everything is possible, and now the situation can be done to improve it. Thank you very much. Certainly, transporting commodities by air has no competitors to fight it. Actually, you have pre-answered the number of questions that I was going to make. And now, as a follow-up to the subject that you mentioned in the last slide of yours about crab hotels, now I'd like to give the floor to Azamat Yusupov, Vice President for Trade and Technology Development of Ante Group of Companies. In 2022, jointly with Dalnev Trans and REF Terminal Logistics, you accomplished an experimental project to transport crabs from Murmansk to Vladivostok. Could you please share the secret of your unique technology that you use to transport live crabs and not freshly refrigerated ones? Do you also build crab hotels, or what other technologies do you use? Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I was really quite impressed by the last slide, which actually marks a result of our work. The company, the logistics company, provides various services to us. However, the project was only kicked off a year ago, and in this particular format, it is unprecedented, either by the size or quality. This is a closed cycle that is meant here. In this case, the key point is maintaining the temperature conditions for the most sensitive commodities, such as live crabs, for instance. We use motor roads to transfer live crabs from Murmansk to Moscow using a pool near Moscow. We use trucks that we designed ourselves that are intended both for short-time transportation within 24 or 26 hours, maintaining the temperature conditions, and also we personally designed another technology which is currently being tested in the same route between Moscow and Murmansk, and which is intended for longer distances, which includes putting it both on motor vehicles and railroads. This is moving live crabs by sea and by roads and by railway through the whole distance to China and farther regions in China. By the time the experiment started, we exported by air using cargo terminals such as Moscow Sheremetyevo terminal. We have exported over 160 tons of live crabs. Certainly, as far as the quantities are concerned, compared to frozen crabs, it's not too much. However, out of the 600 kilograms of live crab over recent months, it is tons, not kilograms. The speaker made a mistake. We did 400 tons, though, over the past 4 months. We sent it to Beijing, Qingdao, Shanghai, Guangzhou, etc., in China, and we are not going to stop at it. We are going to keep developing it compared to what we achieved over 1.5 months. Speaking about the temperature conditions for live crab, the key point here that we are trying to ensure, and which ensures our success, is the time required and temperature conditions. So before the start of harvesting to the delivery to a city in China, the temperature to be maintained is no more than 3 or 4 degrees Celsius, both in water and on the train. And for this purpose, temperature loggers are used to record temperature from the moment of packaging and up to the moment of unpackaging. Sometimes crabs are to be left without water for 20 hours, so we have discovered the best way to transport there, and including the containers that we need to ensure the necessary temperature. Our experience shows that we have minimum losses using this kind of transportation. But speaking about air transportation, I'd like to specifically describe our containers that we designed for long distances. And this is based on our designs for long distances, just adhering to all the conditions for live crabs. In the near future, I believe that exactly next month we will ask Dalnev Trans company to help us with this project, because this experience of transporting live crabs was implemented with your support for moving it from Moscow to Moscow from Vladivostok, and an impetus was given by the development of our containers, starting from the technical part and ending by the application that we developed, so we can trace, or we can track what is happening with our containers online. Shown in red here is what is happening in containers that are not moving. The green light goes for moving containers, and the temperature of air inside the containers is -1 or 1 degrees. We can see here where the container is at a certain point in time, where it is moving, where it is stopped, etc. That is to say, we can track the position online and what is going on inside the container. This application has also been developed by Russian IT specialists, and on the whole, we can see that this work, which is quite sophisticated, which requires very subtle technologies to adhere to temperature change from Murmansk to Qingdao, then Shanghai. All in all, it takes 35 or 40 hours to transport live crabs, and it should be very closely adhered to. And we have learned how to use all the means and technologies available to us so that we could deliver exactly live crabs, which is really quite a challenging task, given the fact that we need to maintain a very cold temperature and maintain it on board vessels
and on board of the road vehicles and on the plane. And we thank the Moscow Cargo very much, because we walked through all that path from acceptance of that crab down to placing those big aviation pellets into big refrigerators so that we keep the temperature stable. And by observing this technology, we have this opportunity, and probably we will develop it in the future, and maybe we will be telling about technology at the next sessions, at the next conferences. Thank you very much, Azamat. It's pleasant to understand that we don't simply have cases and a session where we talk about products, but it's a dialogue between partners. The same product, but several companies participate in this process in partnership and interacting. Next year, I think we will organize a special interactive crab session. We will download an application and see those technologies in an interactive mode. And passing on from live crabs to frozen fish, I'm passing the floor to Andrei Gretching, CEO Dalrev Trans. Andrei, will you talk about your fish shuttle? Thank you very much for giving me the floor. Azamat. Thank you very much. A few words about how it started. The ref container is a transportation equipment. It's not a vehicle. And the idea is to provide seamless operation. So we are trying to build the maximally long intermodal supply chains. Those are multimodal chains using different modes of transportation in order to use the main advantage of the container, which it has. So it's an end-to-end transportation, keeping stable temperature. And the fish shuttle that you've touched upon is one of our projects. I will speak about the geography a little bit, and I will show the trend. The trend is that the internal or domestic consumption is stable more or less because the population in the country remains stable, and the shipment takes place from west to east, and it takes quite a long time by railroad, and that can be seen. The share of export and import shipments has increased in our company very much, and this trend continues. So the Southeast Asian markets, including China, are very big, are endless, plus new opportunities arise which allow us to develop those international shipments. It is very interesting that we are going to launch the Egyptian route for fresh vegetables and fruit, and shipments from India. This also is mainly fresh grapes, but it also includes chemicals, which is not an obvious product that demands stable temperature. Nevertheless, there is a demand for that. As for the fish shuttle, well, there's nothing super fantastic about it, but we just cut some corners and we improved the logistics a little bit. This has nothing to do with the serious reform, but for the companies that use the fish shuttle got certain advantages, and we hope that this shipment will be further delivered next year. What did we do? All of the parties from Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky to Korsakov to Vladivostok and further to the Southeast Asia, we agreed with all the parties that we will not change the container, and we are selling it without VAT. And that provided us with a certain price advantage. It's important to note that we are a 100% Russian company, and thanks to that, the exporter company can pretend to 25% of compensation for its logistical costs from the Russian export center. And the companies that tried to ship their products with us also apply for compensation of those costs, and they think they will be successful because we have submitted those documents quite often in the past, and this incentive for the Russian export using Russian equipment and freight forwarding is very useful. Well, following the words by Mr. Likachov, who said that from the standpoint of payment, there are difficulties when you ship abroad. Yes, that's true. And we transfer to payments in yuan and Turkish liras. But we are a kind of a buffer for our clients. All of our rates and additional agreements, all the invoices are in rubles, and so the customers have no problems in paying us. As for the seamless delivery, I would like to say that initially we we're very careful about insurance. We insure most of the freights at our cost, and our partners have certain experience, and they provide coverage not only in Russia but throughout our geography. Recently, we added an agreement on Turkey, India, and Egypt. So the insurance of refrigerator risks, and we reinsure it with well, I said that it's not fair to say that nobody spoils the perishables. The perishables are perishables. It's important to manage the risk so that it's safe and the client may be sure that the losses will be remunerated. What's interesting, subsidized shipments via the Northern Sea route are developed right now in Russia. We are the operator of refrigerated goods. There weren't too many companies who wanted to use this service. We occupied nearly 100% of the capacity, and the nuclear freighter that uses this route will take about 60 containers of ours. And if you're interested in that, you're welcome. The shipment is to St. Petersburg, and that will be much cheaper than by using railroad. Out of something that is also interested, well, something that will allow us to increase our freight base. We are shipping quite a lot of pharmaceuticals, different precursors, gelatin capsules, medical equipment that demands stable temperature, X-ray, well, raw materials for fabricating X-ray film, and so on. And we want this product to become a special branch of ours, because this equipment is very sensitive to the change of temperature. We are renovating our fleet, and certainly the new containers will first and foremost be used for such freights. And from the standpoint of IT systems, colleagues say that we should pay attention to this. We should monitor the transportation better. 90% of our fleet has a technological solution for that, and we are planning to create a Russian cloud which will be independent of the potential sanctions, because we see sanctions pressure, and our belief in foreign resources results in a pressure, despite the fact that we are a socially oriented company. Still, there is, being a Russian company which develops Russian company, we suffer from the sanctions sometimes. So to avoid that, we will create our own IT system, and that has been already planned for the nearest future. Well, this is everything from me. I wanted to say that the session is really very interesting. There's a lot of new things that I learned concerning especially the air traffic, and we are very thankful to the developer of our container. We certified that container for railroad transportation, and because preservation of the product is their sphere of responsibility, they have the maximal competence in how to safely ship it, and we can only monitor the integrity of that container while it is being shipped by a railroad. So we are transferring from experiment to a regular traffic, and the colleagues from RZD give a high priority to refrigerated trains despite the very difficult situation in the East. Thank you. Thank you, Andrei, very much. I would like to pass the floor to another partner of yours in direct shipments of perishables to China, to Vladimir Kastanov, who is the General Representative of New Elevation Supply Chain RailNet Logistics, China. Vladimir, given the short time left, we have to stick to very stringent time limit. So briefly and clearly, within 7 minutes, tell us how Harbin is becoming a dry port on a contract with seaports, and how does it help the dissemination of Russian seafoods in the Chinese market. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to the organizers for an ability to speak. I will be brief. I would use the opportunity, following on what the previous speakers said. I suggest that AMTE considers our new service that we will present and continue your transportation from Murmansk to Vladivostok and continue it from Vladivostok to Harbin. We have tested this service this year, and we are ready to present it to your judgment. The brief history of this project. You know that our presidents met several times recently, and an agreement on friendship and collaboration was reached between our countries, and as well as about the increase of throughput between our countries. So to increase the turnover of goods, we need to create new logistical corridors and new possibilities for businesses. I mean, new logistic products. So our group of companies was set a task by the Heilongjiang province government to create a corridor for shipment of fish products from Vladivostok to Harbin, which is the capital of Heilongjiang province. Why was our company chosen? Because we have a lot of experience in shipments via the Primorye 1 corridor. Over 4,000 trains were sent, and Vladivostok and Vostochny will be in fact used like the internal ports of Heilongjiang province. So we will be using export from Russia, from Vladivostok to Heilongjiang. Starting with March this year, we met all of the fishing companies, plus we organized meetings with logistics operators, and we chose the biggest logistic operator, and that was already mentioned, Dalreftrans. Well, I thank them very much for trusting in this project and participating in it. I also want to thank the fishing company, which also agreed to participate. The general director of the company is here, Yevgeny. Thank you very much. The company's name is Koryak More Product. And these two partners, in principle, helped us to implement this project. We tested this corridor twice. In April, we sent one container via a road vehicle to Sui Fenhe, then by road. Then we tried our container with the generator to Harbin, and the second test was finished 2 weeks ago. Kodak More Product supplied 300 tons of pollock, and we loaded it into Dal RefTrans container and sent it to Soifunhe. In principle, we position our product, well, the fish, that is caught in Russian waters, as an ecologically clean product. That is a wild fish that has no harmful elements because it's clear water. There are no industrial facilities there, and there's very little of such fish in Hailujan product. And the task is to increase the share of such fish in Hailujan and adjoining provinces. Why was this difficult? Because a new project always meets with certain skepticism, and quite a lot of people at this exhibition ask, why do we need a new route? We deliver it from Vladivostok to Dailan. Why do we have to ship by road? But I think this provides an alternative to the fishing companies, and any alternative is good. A few slides that just demonstrate, like my previous colleague said, we walked through all the stages of transportation. We controlled everything. We chose the right partners who provided certification for us, and it's quite a difficult process. There are 4 different certificates issued on the Russian side, and the labeling is one of the important issues, because the process of negotiations with the potential Chinese buyers starts with labeling, and we paid quite a serious attention to labels. After Kodak More Product harvested the fish, it goes to one of the warehouses in Vladivostok. After that, the company Dal RefTrans, during one day, supplied 11 refrigerator containers. The DV port loaded these containers, and the guy in the yellow vest is our surveyor, who managed to provide all the necessary certificates within 5 days, and this allowed us, well, to provide a seamless transition of freights that went by railroad from Vladivostok first to Gredekova, then across the border, and went to Soifunhe.
As a technical feature related to generation, we use the so-called gem sets. Those are generators intended for each of the containers. Our task was to have 1 train per month, and we have already discussed with RefTrans other technical opportunities to ensure more stable generation, as well as more stable maintenance of adequate temperature. This slide shows the Chinese team that was part to this project. It is called logistics. And as you can see, they pay a lot of attention to this project in the province of Haodzan. A meeting was arranged to discuss our containers in the city of Harbin, which then was included in a special customs zone. As you can see, it is a pretty sophisticated type of intermodal transportation from the warehouse, then by railway, then by motor roads before it reaches a warehouse to be handed over to Chinese consumers. Once again, I'd like to thank our partners from Dalnevtrans and Moreprodukt who have ensured a success of this project. And we invite all the fish producers and processors to take part in our project, because we aim at transporting over 100,000 tons of fish per year. And I think there will be enough room for the work of each of the market players. Thank you very much, Vladimir. Well done. You have mentioned it all, and I believe that now we need to award Dalnevtrans at least with a special letter of appreciation. If there is no content, there'll be no advertising. And I was speaking about an experience in transporting fish products. We now have the CEO of a Russian logistics company. It is Alevtina Kirillova. Good afternoon. We know that your project entitled Eurasian Express is supported by the Eurasian Economic Commission, has united various countries of the Eurasian Economic Union, and last year the transportation volume was almost 500,000 tons. Now, my question is, what are your further subsequent plans to improve the delivery to the conditions of the Pacific region and Central Asia and Southeast Asia? What to the exporters of such products? I know it's a challenging task, but I am sure you will manage to answer these questions within 7 minutes. Thank you very much. Well, colleagues, I was quite interested to listen to all the previous speakers. I have been handling perishable cargoes for over 20 years, and I know how difficult it is. I know that it is now part of the fishery forum. However, as far as the cold chain is concerned, I would suggest we also focus on something else, because it includes dairy products, confectionery products, fruits and vegetables and so on. And they also need fast and seamless delivery to ensure import of products for our population too. Now, briefly, I wanted to mention that the management of the Eurasian integration project is responsible for coordinating this project in the EU countries, and we deal with seamless train transportation jointly with Bremen Group and other groups that have joined our project. In 2022 and 23, our project certainly has been under sanction pressure, and we have been swiftly developing new areas for transportation. Here you can see the target map of the project. blue color marks the points where agro trains travel continuously on a daily basis, and red points here refer to agro hubs where also imports are received. At the end of this year, we are going to start the zero cycle of the project, and then we will design, build, and unite in a sole system all of these products. This project is supported by the Eurasian Economic Commission. Every quarter of the year we meet to discuss draft decisions, and we have signed an agreement between the member countries in 2022 and 23. Over 720 tons 100 tons have been transported, and we have been adhering to the locations within agro-industrial areas. For the project for this project, AZD Logistics bought 500,000 containers, and another 500,000 is going to be used. Plus line containers are going to be borrowed. We are forming an interchangeable fleet of containers jointly with China. And this is an independent refrigerated container. It is independent, which means that it doesn't require any mechanics to service it. Self-contained package, as they say. We are also working on scaling up the project of the corridor north-south. Now we are discussing the possibility of signing a trade agreement and also the construction of a hub in the area of the region. Here are routes of the north-south corridor. In the west, it is multimodal. Transcaucasian also uses multimodal scheme, and using AZD Logistics, container trains have been operating, and we have already delivered cargoes of adequate quality. Telematic device instruments are also used. Currently, we are equipping the trains with them. We are also setting up a network of telemetric monitoring. We signed an agreement with GLONASS to ensure the management of such containers. Also, on a regular basis, we have a multimodal route. It includes both sea transportation and railway transportation, and also for Selektino, Tolmachovo, and some others we ensure it, including refrigerated containers. As far as the rates are concerned, the payment rates are there shown here. For refrigerated containers, the route needs to be specified. Every client may apply to our company or to other partner companies, to learn how high the rates are. for their cargoes. We are also developing a digital platform for the project. Now, the engine of this platform has been completed. It includes managing the consortium of all the member countries. It also includes trans-border transportation between Russia and Kazakhstan. It also includes the option to enter into a trade contract and also the cooperation between customs, phytosanitary, veterinary, and other authorities. In 2024, we are going to start testing the project. In 25, it is going to be fully operational. Under the agreement between Russia and Uzbekistan, it is proposed to subsidize this project for this year between Russia and Uzbekistan via Kazakhstan, to include trains from Turkmenistan. Basically, those are the supplies of fruits and vegetables on an accelerated basis, as well as fresh fruits and vegetables for the EU countries. Here is our contact information. If you have any questions and need any support, you are always welcome to apply to us. And we'll provide you with our support. Thank you. Thanks, Aleftina, for such an informative presentation and your report on the details for developing the project. We understand that it includes not only moving fish products, but also other products, including pharmaceuticals. That's why I'd like to give the floor to the lead of Nordic Supply Chain Solutions, Natalia Fedorova, who has a lot of experience in transporting various types of perishable products by intermodal transport. Could you please tell us how you choose the routes for different types of transport? And please don't forget about the time schedule. Good afternoon. The time schedule is certainly critical for me. It seems that I'm the last speaker. No, you're not the last speaker. You are the final speaker. Your mission is very important to us because you are responsible for adhering to the timetable of transportation. Since I engage in pharmaceuticals, I should say that it is very costly products, and there are very special conditions for their temperature and humidity. We have special requirements for their validation, and we have special requirements for end-to-end control and for the maintenance of thermal conditions using various sensors for each batch of products. If there is any problem with human health, we are always able to locate the documents to know where the problem originated. That's why it is most important to think well about the routes for transportation. We also have special requirements for certain types of pharmaceuticals, such as narcotics and so on. As far as our problems are concerned, the sanctions imposed by Western countries have not affected us so badly. Our Western partners keep adhering to the contract signed with us despite changes in the transportation corridors. As far as our exports are concerned, in line with the policy of our government, we are looking for new, markets for our products to meet all the requirements for pharmaceuticals. Speaking about the types of transport, a railway is used by us most seldom or most infrequently because pharmaceuticals are quite sensitive to time. Sea transportation is used, and one of the previous colleagues told us about the use of sea routes for transporting pharmaceuticals. The only question is now the cost of 1 ton per the cost of 1 per TU. So currently, sometimes the prices, the rates are so high that the use of such transportation is it is useless to use them. However, there is demand for sea transportation. As far as motor roads are concerned, it is currently the most widespread type of transport. We ensure unbroken cold chains there in a most stable way because we load them from thermal controlled warehouses into trucks where temperature is controlled, and also they have temperature loggers in each truck, so it's impossible for their drivers to break the rules. And that's why special certificates are issued to make sure that the drivers behave well. The most reliable transport to transport pharmaceuticals is certainly aircraft, and definitely there are lots of interesting experiences in this area to ensure the adequate temperature conditions, including prioritized loading and also adhering to the time required for transshipment and also the time necessary to install the equipment on board the aircraft.
And it is using special technologies that our colleague from Moscow Cargo talked about. Yes, these procedures cost more than usual, but they allow to observe the adherence of necessary conditions throughout the way. As for the airlines, we have to leave the freights outside the refrigerator when the freights are accepted at the terminals during the loading and unloading operations. Those are the holds of the plane when the freight is loaded. We use two types of packaging, passive and active containers. The passive packaging means it's insulated containers filled with saline solutions which allow to maintain the temperature for less than 96 hours. There are hybrid thermal boxes, which are active passive, special materials that may set the temperature conditions from plus 20 to minus 80, and depending on the amount of freight, that freight may be stored in that container for up to 270 hours. And given the transit logistic being disrupted because a lot of airlines left us, this is very important. What's very good for the suppliers of goods? These containers are leased by the airlines, and you can lease it and provide the seamless chain from your warehouse to the end user. As for the active packaging, those are different types of aviation containers that may work like your home refrigerator, maintaining the temperature from 0 centigrade to plus 20, and using dry ice if you need deep freeze. And also the airlines invented a thing called a thermal blanket. It's very light, and it allows, when you put the freight on board, you cover the freight with that blanket and protects it from water, from the sun, from the dust, and it's very cheap and it's very efficient. Well, this is briefly what I could tell you about the cold chains that we observed during the shipments of pharmaceuticals. Thank you. Thank you, Natalia. Well, in summarizing, I can briefly say this session was dedicated to the seamless temperature logistics, and we will achieve it if we jointly implement those tasks that we set for ourselves. Finishing this session, I wish you a successful day, successful and efficient negotiations at the session, and we are in for a very interesting sessions and dialogues about the unbroken cold chain from the standpoint of technologies and IT. Thanks very much to our experts. Good luck in everything, and welcome to our platform.